What's cracking, everyone? My name is Ryan, and today I want to talk to you guys about a top-of-the-line open-back planar magnetic headphone from Meze Audio, the Meze Elite. Now, before I get into this, I do want to send a special thank you to Meze Audio for sending this out for review. Sadly, I'll be sending this back as soon as I'm done with this, but all thoughts and opinions are of my own. Now, the Meze Elite retails in at 4,000 big ones, and outside of the limited edition Meze Elite Epoch, this is the most expensive Meze you can get. So what does $4,000 get you? Well, you get a very nice aluminum suitcase that honestly looks like something straight out of a bank heist movie. When you open up the case, you're met with the very beautiful Meze Elite headphones, followed by two sets of pads. One pad is already on the headphone, and then you get a second set of pads that are going to have different signatures. More on that in a bit. As well as your choice of either a 3.5mm, 6.3, or an XLR cable. You get a identification card and then a 2-year warranty. Now, specs-wise, there is quite a bit going on under the hood, and I want to take a couple of minutes now to talk about that. So first of all, the Elite is in collaboration with Acoustic Engineering of Renaro and is their new isodynamic hybrid array headphone. This technology can be found in both the Empyrean and the Elite headphones. And then speaking of engineering, I do think it's worth noting that every Elite is handmade, and just the aluminum skeleton can take 20 hours to make and several days to complete the entire headphone. Quite honestly, I think this is what we should expect from the cost of admission. So the driver of the Elite is custom made and took 3 years of R&D to create. It has a THD of 0.05 across the entire frequency range, and the driver itself weighs 75 grams, it's 32 ohms, and has a sensitivity of 101 dB per milliwatt. So honestly, Meze wants you to be able to power these on pretty much anything. Now, the driver does encompass, of course, the casing, diaphragm, and the hybrid magnet array, but it does have a dual voice coil system, the switchback coil and the spiral coil. Now, each is responsible for producing different parts of the frequency spectrum, so think of low end and the high end. And, not to get too much into the weeds here, guys, but I highly recommend looking into this because this was very interesting to read. They've even scienced this all the way out to how the sound enters the ear canal, and there's some illustrations showing that on their site. On to the build and comfort. The build of the Elite is exquisite, in my opinion. I mean, we are talking about a process in which they imprinted in the machining process onto the aluminum, like different carvings on the grill. And it was something that when I first opened up the case and looked at the Elite, and upon closer inspection, I thought there was like a scuff or something up here on the grill, until I looked in closer and realized that was an intended thing for them to do. And there's that, machining and imprint process on there. And it's a very just unique way of doing the headphone and almost gives it its own fingerprint. So I was highly impressed by that. Then the headband is carbon fiber, and the design is a pressure distribution wings type design. It's patent pending, I believe, from Meze. And what's interesting about it is the headphone itself weighs 420 grams. And because of this, and I'll put this on my head, the way this will fit on your head is it evenly distributes out here. And you have the mechanism here, of course, for adjusting your headband, but it sits so evenly weighted on there and comfortable that it doesn't feel like 420 grams at all. I mean, not that 420 is super heavy, but this is the most comfortable headphone that I've worn. And I just said that 2 weeks ago about the Meze 109 Pro. Well, these are the comfort kings of Meze and of headphones that I have worn so far. And also, before I forget, the pads that you get here. So the Meze Elite comes with a new hybrid pad system, which is a combination of leather and Alcantara interior. Alcantara, for reference, is kind of like a suede material. Now, this is also the lightest and softest of the two. And then the second set of pads was first introduced with the Empyrean, and this is a Alcantara pad itself. Now, the Alcantara, as I said, is kind of a suede material, but it's heavier. It's more durable, it's easier to clean, longer lasting, so it kind of makes sense that they would put this on, such an expensive headphone to have a pad that would last. All right, I've oohed and ahed enough over the build, the comfort, and the technical specifications of this device. So how does it sound? Now, first off, most of the impressions I'm going to talk to you about first are going to be with the hybrid pads and with my RME 80i 2DAC. Now, the 2DAC is what I use when I wanted to listen to single-ended, but then I also use my Liquid Platinum when I wanted to go balanced. So I'm going to talk to you about that right now. Now, the sound out of the 2DAC is very just transparent and clear, as in bass is represented very well, mid-range is represented very well, the treble region is represented very well. Nothing was overemphasized, bass wasn't boomy, mid-range wasn't, push forward, and the treble wasn't harsh or anything, at least to my ears, straight out of the gate, out of the SE, out of the 2DAC. And this was impressive in the fact that the stage is really good. I'm going to get into that. Imaging, of course, is spot on, but it was just a very, again, just a transparent type listen out of the SE with the 2DAC, and that's kind of the, the capabilities of the 2DAC and what that does. Now, furthermore, when I started listening balanced out of the Liquid Platinum, that is when I was very impressed, and kind of what I want to talk to you about right now. Out of the Liquid Platinum, I wouldn't call this necessarily a true tube sound because we're talking about a planar out of a hybrid amp, but it represented things so very well, and it didn't do anything wrong to the timbre. The timbre still sounded very good. The soundstage still maintained that, and the imaging still maintained that as well. It's almost as if listening out of my 2DAC out of SE is like taking, hot, fresh rolls out of the oven and then throwing it on my Liquid Platinum was like putting that extra butter on top that just made the sound so ooey gooey good. So then switching pads to the Alcantara pads was very interesting here in that the overall sound spectrum throughout seemed a little bit more warmer in nature. And I don't mean warmer in the same way I do with the Liquid Platinum. I mean like bass was a little bit more actually relaxed, I guess, maybe not as full and present, but you maybe felt it a little more. The mid-range was a little dialed back a little bit, and the high end was a little bit dialed back. And what was interesting about all of that is the dynamics in general seemed a little dialed back. I didn't get as much punch and slam as what I would have liked, what I probably got more of out of the hybrid pads. And this is not a punchy or slammy headphone, so please understand that. Not compared to something like a Focal or a ZMF. And it's a planar, but it still maintained presence, at least with the hybrid pads. And I almost feel like the Alcantara pads almost made it a little too relaxed for me and a little too just blunted for me. And it's, for others, I could see that being a good thing. Maybe they enjoy those pads. The other thing about the Alcantara pads, they're a lot thicker than the hybrid pads. So the clamp force was a little bit more in my head. Comfort level was probably a little worse, to be honest. Not bad, just, different. And just in general, I just didn't feel like I had as much space and stage and things, which honestly, they tell you on the site that's going to happen. So it does give you a different flavor depending on the pads. And so before I leave the sound, I do want to tell you that I have a couple of track impressions to give you an idea here. And I'm going to jump back to hybrid pads again, because that's what most of my listening was with. So I threw on the Chesky's Ultimate Demonstration Disc. I mean, I have to. I do that with all of my headphones. And what I can tell you about the Elite is it took that demonstration disc and just gave me oh, that's what all that's supposed to sound like. Because sometimes, you get the feeling of what you're getting out of each track, but the Elite kind of just ramped that up to 10. And I'll give you one track example on that, and that was with the track Spanish Harlem. Now, when she starts singing at the very beginning, I was instantly just blown away by just how I felt like I was in the stage with her and just heard her voice all around me. Kind of like I was the only person sitting on a chair in front of her as she's singing, and you just hear those notes resonating all around you. It was unique. It was a compliment to the stage, but also just to the vocal presence and just how good that can sound. So then going further into my eclectic taste of music, there was the band The Who. Now, The Who is a Mongolian metal band, and the reason why I enjoy listening to them, outside the fact I have no idea what they're saying, is I love their incorporation of musical instruments. I mean, we're talking about wood instruments with, electric guitars and everything, and just, it's such a fun group to listen to, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to them on the Meze Elite. Of course, the timbre and everything was just represented so very, very well. And then even moving further beyond that into, something like even hip hop, Kendrick Lamar's latest album, I can't get enough of that one and all the different headphones I sample. His lyrics come out so crystal clear on the Elite, and just, you get all the music in there, and you just, kind of sit back and listen along, and that was fantastic. And the Elite is just a musical treat while you tap your feet to the beat. I'm listening to too much Kendrick, although it's way better than that. So I really don't have anything negative to say about the Elite. And I know that's going to bother some of you because you probably feel like I should have something. Now, I guess if I were to say anything, do I think they're perfect? No. I honestly don't know what perfect is. Subjectively in the audio hobby that we are in, we are always searching for, maybe one minute thing or another into a headphone, but these are absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. Now, would I go out and spend $4,000 on a headphone like this? No, but I don't think I would spend $4,000 on any headphone right now, currently where I'm at. It's just not something I financially would be able to do right now. Would I take these though? You're damn right I would. There's a lot of headphones I would take in this price category and be perfectly happy with that. So things like this are necessary in the audio world. I mean, we're talking about the Utopias, the LCDs, the Dianas, the Sesvaras, the Calderas, and now we've got the Elite. I mean, yeah, the top of the line is just that. It's the top of the line, guys. It's exciting. It's fun to stare at in a window or on a shelf, and it's extremely fun to sit back and listen on your head. All right. I thank you guys for watching Meze Audio. Can't thank you enough again for sending these out, for my experience and my time to spend with them. So I will be getting them back to you guys. I'll let you guys get back doing whatever it is that you do. I'm going to get back to doing more content because I got a lot more things coming out. And until then, I will see you in the next one.